come and get it.
All right, welcome back. Let me just set up the score here real quick. There we go, 2-2. Everything's set and ready to go. We got the short spawns here on Way Station. And before we do introductions, someone in chat asking, what do Partoofs give you? Well, there are currency here on the channel. They're basically credits that you can use to exchange for raffle tickets, which we hand out prizes. We did giveaways earlier today. We've given away over $500 worth of prizes over the last couple months, and we got a couple more to come. It's really fun doing giveaways, and I would do giveaways all day, every day if I could, but there are some limitations, mostly money. At any rate, guys, we found ourselves in this best of 7 Showmatch series. This is game number 5 between these two players. Score displayed down here in the lower left by the thing. Of course, we got player cams up and rock and rolling because these guys are pretty cool and said, sure, why not? Spawning here in the top right corner of the map, at the left on the webcam, ladies and gentlemen, it is the red Protoss player, IVD's Puck. And in the lower left, but on the right side of these two cameras, from Chaos Latin Gamers, it is the light blue Zerg, JimRising. Now, I'm a little bit curious to see if the momentum for Jim has fallen off. I mean, he had a really good start this series. That 2-0 was not like a barely winning 2-0. He was destroying 2-0. Now, Puck's kind of turned that around. He said, no, stop, Jim. All right, I was playing around. I gave you some free wins to boost your confidence, but now it's my time to bring this back. Whether he can continue this or not, we'll have to see. Of course, it being a best of 7, it's first to 4 wins. And guys, beyond this, only the weird maps remain. By weird maps, I mean the curveballs we throw into each of these show matches. So, of course, players are given vetoes, and if they don't want to play the curveball maps, they can do it. If they don't want to play the macro maps, they don't have to do it. Habitation Station was vetoed by Puck and King St. Jong out of Jim. I think Habitation Station was actually a really smart veto on account of the fact that JimRising's been showing that he's willing to do swarm hosts beyond these other weird tactics. Now, that being said, the 2 maps remaining at this point are Newkirk Precinct. Whoa! What a throwback. And New Polaris Rhapsody, the lava map. So we're going to see one of those two regardless. But truth be told, I kind of hope this goes to Game 7. I'd love to see both of those maps involved with this. As I don't think those maps are going to be particularly favored to or by either player. But hold the phone, change it up a little wee bit. JimRising goes for a proxy, a base steal, however you want to call it. This is something that we've seen some players do in the past, and we've had a lot of, if you've heard different casters analyze this, like, why doesn't he cancel? Is this worth the value? I think a long time ago, a lot of Zerg players sat down, in the communion of Zerg players that get together in Senate and Congress every week, and they said, like, look, the 300 mineral cost of this hatchery, by not canceling it, cheers, Reno, Riba. One of the big things for this is the creep itself is almost worth those minerals. It's going to take so long to kill the hatchery, and then beyond that, it's going to take forever for the creep to recede so they can actually build something here. Oh, I like turtles. Man, that was awesome. Anyways, so this is going to be worth it. It's just going to take a little bit of time to pay off. And let's not forget, if JimRising can get a queen out here and a creep tumor as well, that makes it even worse and more annoying to deal with. But Puck skips this and goes to the top middle part. We'll take a base up here, and this map's got some weird dynamics to it. Number one being, there's island bases with no island blockers. So what we're seeing a lot of Protoss players do, who go for like the Immortal builds, who go for the Robo Bay to get the Warp Prisms out, will shuttle a probe over and take these island bases more so than others. Which blows my mind, by the way, because I'm still waiting. I have cast so many Terran players, and I'm talking high-level Korean Terran players like Jakshi on this map, who do not lift off a command center over there. You would think that would be the go-to, right? Anyways, that aside the point, island bases are a lot more prevalent for Protoss than any other that we've seen so far, at least in my experience casting since this map's been out. Now, as far as what follows up this, we got a couple probes or Zerglings coming across the map, but quite frankly, this cannon not defended. Mothership Core is busy trying to deal with this. The Queen can actually win the Mothership Core fight. These two will actually, there are times where these two will kill each other at the same time if they engage together, but this is a bit awkward for Puck. Unfortunately, goes down top of the cannon, but he's still got some surface area to connect to it. He will get the probe for this too, and I'm sorry guys, I missed first blood somewhere in this mess, so we'll just pretend that happened. While this is going down, we do have a creep tumor thrown down and a spine crawler starting up. What this was meant to do is stop any sort of cannons from coming into play and making sure that there's no easy mode to clean up the creep tumors. Again, a lot of what comes out of this is JimRising trying to deny Puck an easy, safe natural for as long as humanly possible. And this base, I mean, granted, it's good. This is much better. If this was other spawn locations on this map, guys, the thirds are so much further away. They're so much more exposed. They're so much more dangerous to take. But the third he's actually taken here is not too bad, not too shabby. Cancels the Spine Crawler. Oddly enough, we have a Zergling coming out. I don't know why. But the creep tumor's already out, and he's starting to spread the creep around too. So again, this is going to take a long time to actually clean up the hatchery. And then once the hatchery goes down, it's going to take an equally long time to get all this creep cleaned up. There's no detection here. There's no robo, so there's not going to be an observer. But Puck's, again, he'd love to take this base as soon as humanly possible, but it's not going to be very quick. While this is going on, JimRising, well, he buys himself this awkward bit of time. He gets the macro hatchery down. He's going to go for the same sort of build that he's been employing so far. With the faster hatchery, or faster lair coming up, though, he might be going for Mutalisks a bit quicker than normal. Man, this makes a lot of broodlings, and he actually micros them onto the probe. What? All right. But Puck's natural base, his second, however you want to call it, the third location, is actually getting SimCity'd off pretty nicely. It's going to be very difficult for Zerglings to squeeze in here, and the cannon covers the mineral line pretty well. But yeah, this creep tumor is very active, still alive. He can continue to spread creep for a while. He can even build out this larva if he wants to, but it's gonna be a bit of time before he can take that base. Now 1-1 is on the way, and that's 22 Zerglings coming out. This third base might be the point of contest, but if a lot of warpins are placed over here, Zerglings can speedily dart over here and try and take out this base instead. But no, he's actually playing off 2 bases. Puck comfortably going to make a warp prism instead. Not go for that observer. Not going to clean up the creep tumors. Not going to be able to deal with this anytime soon. And JimRising, well, this attack's actually hitting at a very scary timing. Metabolic boost is on the way, and it will finish before this. But 1-1 certainly won't be. And he's going to have to bait out so many force fields here in the middle of the map. Oh my god, so many Zerglings get caught in this force field mess. Really unfortunate for JimRising. Every Zergling counts. Normally Zerglings are your throwaway units. You don't care about them. They're fodder at best. But he needs them to hold this off because Puck has got a lot of gateways right now. I think 6? I want to say 7? 8. No, 6. Okay. So he's got 6 gateways to warp in with. This is a lot of potential for damage. And beyond this, let's not forget, these sentries, while they did just burn a lot of energy, they're still looking pretty good. Warp Prism can pick these up too, but he finds himself in an awkward spot. Good walls go down, but a recall is going to be initiated, realizing he may lose a little too much due to those queens. But he's not done yet. He's got Zealots warping into the middle of the map. Once that recall finishes, he can move out once again. A couple Zerglings are not going to get a lot done, sadly. And +1 weapons is complete, which means he will 2-shot these Lings. But 1-1 is on the way, and that will change once that completes. But the Spire is coming up. No third base out of JimRising, and rightfully so, because he couldn't defend it if he did. Again, this is going to be a bit awkward for Puck. I go back to Overgrowth, where he went for the aggression on that third base, and there was no third base. Like, what are you doing? Why do you play like this? I'm not... What? But the 8 Mutalisks, I don't think they're going to time out properly. The Spine Crawler is going to help a little bit, but these Zerglings are busy trying to get damage done on the other side of the field, and really they need to be at home defending. Spine Crawlers will buy a little bit of time, but not a lot. In the Stalker count, it's not exactly numerous. Focusing these down intentionally with the Spine Crawlers, making sure that there's as little anti-air as possible. Cleans up the pylon in the middle of the map. Another pylon needs to be killed, but there's a Warp Prism here on the front lines. Queens are going to do what they can against the Zealots, but as we see, Guardian Shields are going to go down. Force Shields will lock these Zerglings away, but one small hole lets them through, and on top of the army they get. The Stalkers go down, and the Sentries are going to fall. A warp in of Stalkers behind this, but the Mutalisk count is getting thinned out very quickly. The Zerglings here can't deal with the Zealots in this choke. 29 Zerglings are not going to deal with what is only 7 Zealots, but actually, the Mutalisks lived through enough of this. They pick off the Warp Prism. They're going to clean up the last couple Stalkers. Maybe? It's actually looking pretty close, pretty dire. Puck can still reinforce. I just want to throw that out there. He does have that pylon, but just opting not to. Not a lot of probes died or drones died to this though. Puck just threw away an entire army with +1 upgrades and killed mostly Lings for it. Now, granted, they did trade evenly, and Puck killed a lot of queens. But neither player's on 3 bases. Normally, this is where Puck would have a Nexus coming down at the natural. This is where he'd have a third behind this, and he'd be like miles ahead of JimRising. But he's still stuck on 2 bases, and he won't be taking a third anytime soon. Especially with how JimRising is being so active. And this is weird to say, but like, is this one of the rare opportunities a 2-base Zerg player is going to play more effective than a 2-base Protoss? The Mutalisks do try and get in here, but recognizing there's a lot of Stalkers, veer off towards the third. But the cannons are pretty nice, and let's not forget there's no overcharge, actually. Ooh, that's a bit worrisome. But the cannons getting focused down immediately, and the probes are going to be pulled out of this. Whether they can escape or not, we'll have to wait and see. Puck is being beaten down to 1 base, though, and this is not a situation you want to be in as a Protoss. That is for certain. But he's going to warp in some Stalkers. This will kill the Mutalisk, but unfortunately not the Zerglings. Yikes. Natural base goes down. Nexus falls. Creep still standing, and an Observer still not been made, so we can't claim this base. Oh, man. That sucks. Oh, hello, kitty cat. Sorry, my cat just rubbed up against me. Anyways, Puck's just going to pull the probes. This is kind of the all-or-nothing move that I think he's recognized he's forced into. 5 Spine Cores coming down. If these complete, JimRising can hold. But if they don't, I actually don't know if his army can hold up to this. Again, the probes will act as a very strange buffer for the Stalkers, so the Zerglings can't get us around. There'll be some force fields thrown down here too. Guardian Shield goes up immediately, and the Mutalisks are being focused down. These Stalkers can eventually deal with the Lynx, but right now they're eating a lot of the damage. And if Puck had Blink, hey, you know they joked about workers versus workers earlier? Unfortunately, the Spine Callers are almost like cheating. But the probes buffer enough of this. The Stalkers still stand. Can they fight within the Spine Callers, though, is the big question. It looks like a big fat no. Still trying to walk backwards out of this. The Mutalisk count has dwindled quite heavily, but Puck has thrown everything into this fight. Down to almost no workers behind this, sitting on one base. Natural, he's taking the Nexus again. But I don't know. That was a rough fight to lose. Lots more Lynx coming up behind this, and JimRising now on 1-1. It's not like the auto win for Zealots that it was earlier in the game. Now, Puck did kill the third while this was happening. I didn't draw a lot of attention to it, but JimRising is trying to get that reestablished. Tucked into a good spot with some decent force fields. He can take a good fight, but Jim, I think, just has a little too much momentum right now. His army supply is not exactly dominating, but he's got the right composition. Now he's going to go on top of the Nexus, and honestly, a dive for the Nexus might actually be worth it. It's weird to consider that, but it's you know, you beat a Protoss player down to one base, and you really shut them down. Stalkers don't have Blink, Zealots don't have Charge. That Portfolio Council not getting a lot done, and you know, I hate to be the day 9 guy, but when behind Dark Shrine might be his only option at this point. I'm not sure what's going through Puck's mind right now, but I can't be happy thoughts, because this is a frustrating situation to be in, that's for sure. But, you know, again, for Puck, it's kind of... Oh my god, he has an Observer. But he never killed these creep tumors. I was going to say, I've seen Puck in micro situations. I think he beats JimRising every single time. But in macro situations like we're having right now, I don't think he's going to have a chance. Not with the natural base being focused down once again by these Lings, and the Mutalisks on top of this. Base is going to go down, and Puck is going to lose another Nexus. GG is going to be called. JimRising now up 3-2, 1 win away from victory. We'll see if he can lock this down, or if this will be the end of the series. 2 maps remain, Newkirk Precinct and New Polaris Rhapsody. It is going to be Puck's map pick, but we're going to run to a commercial break. So don't go anywhere, guys. We'll be back with more in just a moment's time.